Hey guys, how's it going? Today on All Ball, we're going to be talking about which teams have the best chance of making the NBA playoffs this season. With All Star break right around the corner, I thought it would be the perfect time to discuss how everything would potentially unfold before the end of the season. Let's start with the Eastern Conference. The top six teams in the East are pretty solid, and I expect all of them to make the playoffs this season. So the Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls, Brooklyn Nets, Milwaukee Bucks, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Philadelphia 76ers will definitely make it to the playoffs this season. To figure out the remaining two teams to enter the playoffs, we need to figure out which teams will qualify for the play-in tournament. If you don't know how the play-in tournament works, it basically means that teams ranked 7 through 10 in the seedings will have a mini playoff of their own to decide the 7 and 8 seed for the playoffs, resulting in two teams getting kicked out of the running. The 7 seed will play the 8 seed, and if the 7 seed wins, they'll secure the 7 seed in the playoffs. Similarly, the 9 seed plays the 10 seed, and the loser of that match loses its chance of getting into the playoffs. However, the winner of the 9th and 10th seed doesn't automatically enter the playoffs. They have to play another game against the loser of the 7th and 8th seed, and the team who wins that match will secure the 8th seed of the playoffs. So now let's look at the teams which have the best chance of entering the play-in tournament from the East. Firstly, we have the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets have been the biggest surprise this season with LaMelo Ball leading the way for the team and a well-rounded supporting cast of Bridges, Hayward, Rozier, and Plumlee. LaMelo is in the running to make the All-Star team, and I believe that his popularity and style of play will definitely land him a spot in the All-Star team. Next, we have the Boston Celtics. Now, the Celtics didn't have the best start this season with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown not being able to work together to get the job done. But I still believe that they have what it takes to make the play-in. Jason Tatum is already a superstar in this league, averaging 26, 9, and 4, so I definitely think he'll lead the Celtics into the play-in tournament. While these two teams are locked to enter the play-in, the remaining two spots are pretty hard to say for sure. The teams contending for the last two spots are the Raptors, Wizards, Knicks, and Hawks. While the Knicks are dark horse candidates to make it into the playoffs, Julius Randle is facing a major drop-off from last season, and I don't think he has what it takes this season to secure a spot for the Knicks in the play-in. And although the Raptors are currently at the 9th spot, I don't think they have enough pieces to consistently play well for the remainder of the season, and I see them finishing at the 11th seed and just missing out on the play-in. That leaves the Hawks and the Wizards, who I think will round out the entire play-in tournament. Trae Young, being a superstar in this league, has what it takes to make a push in the second half of the season, and with Bogdanovich by his side, I think that the Hawks will make it. The Wizards, on the other hand, have Bradley Beal, who's averaging 24, 5, and 7. With a good supporting cast of Dinwiddie, Caldwell Pope, and most importantly Kyle Kuzma, who's playing the best basketball of his career, I believe that the Wizards have the best shot amongst these four teams to secure a spot. Now that we have the 10 teams to make it into the play-in tournament from the East, let's move on to the West. For the West, 5 teams are locked to make it into the playoffs. Those teams are the Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, Memphis Grizzlies, Utah Jazz, and Dallas Mavericks. That leaves one spot to avoid the play-in tournament, and the teams most likely to secure the 6th seed and directly make it into the playoffs are the Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, and Portland Trail Blazers. While all of these teams have a fairly even chance of making it into the playoffs, I believe that the Lakers and LeBron James will take the 6th seed. If you've seen my last video on why the Lakers are so bad, you know that Russell Westbrook is the only reason I'd be a little skeptical about this pick. Sure, AD wasn't playing well either when he was healthy, but he's still a top 10 talent in this league, and I have full faith in LeBron and AD that they will pull through and get the 6th spot. That leaves the Nuggets, Timberwolves, Clippers, and Trailblazers, who round up the entire play-in tournament. Now let's look at how the play-in tournament would look in the East. I think the standings will look something like this: Hornets in the 7th seed, Celtics in the 8th seed, Wizards in the 9th seed, and Hawks in the 10th seed. In the Wizards vs Hawks matchup, I think that the Wizards will take it against the Hawks, eliminating Atlanta from the play-in. While it would be a tough match between the 7th and 8th seed, I believe that in a one-game situation, the Celtics will win a hard-fought battle against the Hornets because I believe that the combined firepower of Tatum and Brown will be too much for LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets, which would put the Celtics at the 7th seed. Finally, the last game between the Hornets and Wizards is definitely the hardest game to predict. While the Wizards have a lot of NBA veteran presence with the likes of Bradley Beal, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Caldwell Pope, I think that the Hornets take this game in a close finish, eliminating the Wizards from contention and securing the 8th seed. Finally, for the Western Conference, I think the season will end with the Nuggets in the 7th seed, Timberwolves in the 8th seed, Clippers in the 9th seed, and Trailblazers in the 10th seed. In the 9th and 10th seed game, it'll be a heated battle between Damian Lillard and Paul George, who consistently make the playoffs each year. With the season Lillard is having, I think that Paul George and the Clippers will edge it out at the end, eliminating the Blazers from the playoffs. This one is honestly hard to say because in a one-game series with everything on the line, it's difficult to predict the outcome. Lillard might just drop 50 and eliminate Paul George just like he did to Westbrook and George in the 2018-19 season while they were playing on the Thunder. This would honestly be comical, and I'd love to see something like this. But as for my prediction, I think the Clippers take this one. Now for the 7th versus 8th seed game, this was honestly an easy decision. I think Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets will absolutely destroy the Timberwolves and secure the 7th seed in the playoffs. In the final game to secure the 8th spot, I think it will be a fair matchup between the Timberwolves and the Clippers. But in the end, I think the Clippers will take this one and round up the playoffs for the 8th seed. So when it's all said and done, at the end of the play-in tournament, I believe the playoffs will consist of these teams. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and stay tuned for the next one because we're going to look at the seedings of all the teams within the playoffs, figure out who's going to win every matchup, and predict who will win the NBA championship this season.